The burden of the people rests on your shoulders, chosen one. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Chun loudly declared his own aspirations. What do the common people have to do with me? I only wish to be with my sister and enjoy a simple life. Hearing this, he sighed helplessly. Speaking of your sister, you've caused her immense suffering, you know? You've pushed her into a desperate situation, haven't you? Your sister, to save your life, was forced to reveal her true identity to the world. Right there on Qing Tai, the righteous sects want to eliminate her, and demonic beings want to exploit her. Her days ahead will likely be filled with even more hardship and danger. Meanwhile, at the Zijian Manor, Yiling Heir was waiting, and she hurriedly asked with a curious look, "What urgent matter brings you here?" Feng Piao Piao replied with a cheerful expression. "I heard rumors that at Qingyan platform, you saved your younger brother. I want to test my skills against yours." Although Ling Heir frankly explained, "I'm afraid I've disappointed you. I really don't know martial arts." Piao Piao persistently demanded, "Show your moves. Stop with the nonsense." Immediately after, she launched an attack without hesitation. The outcome, perhaps everyone could have guessed. As Ling Heir clutched her wounds, her body trembling, she said, "We have no grievances, no animosity. Why are you treating me like this?" On the contrary, Piao Piao showed no remorse, stubbornly insisting, "Still not making a move? Are you looking down on me?" Ling Heir at this moment still firmly asserted, "Feng Piao Piao, I truly don't know martial arts. Stop this madness." Couldn't help but harbor suspicions. "I want to see how long you plan to keep up this pretense." And a brutal attack from her was unleashed. Fortunately, Xiao Yushan appeared just in the nick of time, catching the falling Ling Ni with one arm and questioning Feng Pia Piao with the other. "Are you crazy? What are you doing?" Not only did she show no remorse, but she also loudly reproached Xiao Yushan. "We're about to be married, brother. Yet you're embracing another woman right in front of me. I think this vixen needs to be taught a lesson to show her true form." Before Pia Piao could finish her sentence, she heard a warning growl. "I've already shown my true form. If you dare, come and fight me." The challenging words made her scream in terror. Where did this huge dog come from? "Let me go." Unexpectedly, Xiao Yushan added coldly, "Xiao Bai, don't let go until nightfall." These words were like salt on the wound, shattering Pia Piao's heart. She could only cry out in frustration. "Xiao Yushan, you stop right there." The thunderous sound of hooves shattered the forest's tranquility, filling the air with commotion. Gazing silently out the window, she was lost in a sea of contemplation. She wondered if Mo Lao's words earlier had been too harsh. Taking advantage of a break to build a fire and rest, she shyly approached Yi Chun. He was silently berating himself. "Why am I so useless?" He quickly spoke up when he saw her. "Princess Xingxi." His formal address made her curious. "Why do you still call me princess?" she asked. Do you remember the first time we met?" Her question was immediately answered. "Yes, it seems like it was under similar circumstances. You were being pursued and suddenly appeared before me." "Yes, why didn't you have any guards with you?" he asked. Xingxi's eyes held a hint of sadness. She replied, "I was careless and was separated from them by a trick, just like that time at the general's mansion." Hearing those words, Yi Chun quickly replied with certainty, "Yes, sir, yes." A casual remark made by Jing Shi in a moment of excitement. "Then how could we possibly marry her off to someone else?" Caused Yi Chun to pause, lost in a sea of contemplation. "It's a shame she's a princess and I." Just then, Elder Mo was also approaching the flickering fire and spoke up. "Yin Gang, you've been at the peak of the spirit condensation realm for 3 years now." The young man replied sheepishly, "Yes, it's been 3 years, and I still haven't been able to break through to the divine ability realm. I'm ashamed to return and face grandfather and the village chief." Hearing this, the old man kindly explained, "But the divine ability realm is inherently a difficult threshold on the path of cultivation. Village chief, my sons have also been stuck at the peak of the spirit condensation realm for 15 years, but this time is different. Yun Gang, the star fragmentation abyss awaits you." In a small cave, Xiao Yushan's voice still echoed in Ling Ni's ears. "Don't move, I'll heal your wounds immediately." Ling Ni politely declined. "These kinds of injuries are nothing to me." But her words couldn't dispel his worry. "What about the palm strike she just landed on you?" It wasn't until he saw Ling Ni spring to her feet, confidently declaring, "See, I'm perfectly fine," that Yushan finally nodded in agreement. The Yi family bloodline truly is extraordinary. Your reputation precedes you. Ling Ni, for the next few days, I must ask you to remain here. I apologize for the inconvenience. Wai Chico lai nơi này has been translated on vita sentim. Fong Fipio will never find you here. I'll have someone bring you clothes and food. Also, this is the ancestral cultivation technique of our Shao family. I hear it's quite suitable for those with weaker constitutions. I've hand-copied a version, so that when faced with danger, she could protect herself. Ling Er carefully observed the secret manual as she read aloud. Yixing Jing. Soon, the carriage entered the magnificent imperial city of the Holy Court Nation. On the way, old Mo unintentionally caught the probing gazes of the city's inhabitants, making him feel extremely uncomfortable and irritated. Had he become a target the moment he returned? Meanwhile, Yishun was lost in thought. If this was truly orchestrated by the first prince, then this return to the capital, wouldn't it be walking right into his trap? Seeing this, Yin Gang teased him. Spaced out after being lectured by old Mo, the moment he detected the suspicious demonic aura, Zhou Wu immediately darted out of the carriage. Suspicion arose in his heart. Had that eccentric old man already gone out? At the same time, Yishun also looked suspicious. But where is Xiao Jiu going? Yin Gang seemed quite calm, gently persuading. Why do you care about him? Spring has arrived. Look at Ling Er laughing happily. Xiao Yushan teased. In such good spirits. We were just playing in the water, and I didn't notice anything special. But in just one evening, you've mastered it. Ling Er smiled back. The technique you taught me is truly amazing. If you don't believe me, watch closely. With that, she nimbly flew up, plucked a flower petal, and flung it forcefully towards a tree trunk. Instantly, mystical characters appeared. Ling Er proudly showed off her accomplishment. See, isn't it amazing? Then, she suddenly became flustered and asked, Is there something on my face? Xiao Yushan stammered. It's just. I never expected this technique to be so miraculous, leaving Ling Er speechless in astonishment. Meanwhile, Feng Piao, the young master of the Purple Sword Villa, paced back and forth restlessly, muttering to himself, Strange, I haven't seen that vixen anywhere these past few days. Xiao Yushan has also vanished without a trace. Could these two be up to some mischief, plotting something shady behind my back? Immediately, he barked orders at his subordinates. Tomorrow is my wedding day. Absolutely nothing can be allowed to disrupt it. Even if we have to turn this entire Purple Sword Villa upside down, we must find that she-devil, Yi Ling. But as he entered the Forbidden Palace, Yi Qin's mind was filled with unease. He wondered, could something similar to what happened to the generals, mentioned the other day, occur again? Suddenly, he heard the princess suggest, Everyone, wait for me at the heavenly palace. I wish to visit my father. Hearing Princess Xi's earnest request, Yi Qin offered, Shall I accompany you? His suggestion was immediately rejected. The Father Emperor's bedchamber isn't a place one can casually enter. Not even the guards are permitted. Noticing Yi Shun's anxiety, Yin Gang leaned in and whispered reassuringly, This is the Imperial Palace. What could possibly happen? This is different. This is the princess's residence. Don't tell me you're afraid of Wang Tianni. Suddenly appearing, Xingxi confidently chimed in, Brother Yi Shun, don't worry. I'll be right back. Nothing will happen. However, Yi Shun couldn't shake off his unease. I can't let anything happen to your highness Xingxi. I promise my mother. The princess had just reached the main gate when Zhou Wu gave her a fright. After regaining her composure, she cheerfully suggested, So it's you. Come with me to visit the Father Emperor. Shortly after, the Emperor received urgent news from the Northern Palace. Inhung Kwok has obtained the treasure. The princess has returned to the palace. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise now? He had to bite the bullet and reluctantly agreed. State your wish. He quickly snatched the treasure, a triumphant look on his face. Thank you, your highness. Outside the palace doors, the princess's voice announced, Father, Xingxi has come to greet you. Then, she suddenly heard a voice reply, Xingxi, my dear sister, it's been a while. Are you well? He appeared suddenly from behind the palace doors, startling her into a gasp. Wang Tianni, why is it you? Yi Shun waited at the heavenly palace, his heart burning with anxiety. Why do I have such a bad feeling? Yin Gang shook his head and sighed. Yi Shun, will you stand still for a moment? You're making me dizzy. But it seemed a lingering worry still gnawed at him. Brother Mo, I I have a feeling that something unusual is about to happen. Yin Gang quickly sought support from Yishan. Elder Imo, let's have a word with Brother Yi. This kid is always suspicious, doubting everything. Unexpectedly, Elder Imo seemed understanding and agreed. Yishan's worries were not unfounded. We've been followed since we set foot in the capital. Hearing this, Yin Gang immediately jumped up, his face full of astonishment. Then, what should we do? The princess has already gone inside, but upon hearing Yi Shun's suggestion, why don't we go inside and see? He hastily voiced his objection. How can we just barge in? Do you think this is your house? Yin Gang was quickly silenced by Yi Shun with a wave of his hand. Give me your hand. Then, he began to whisper, discussing their upcoming plan. Meanwhile, she was also quite irritated. Wang Tianyi, how dare you show your face in my father's chambers? He shamelessly declared. I'm about to become your husband. Why shouldn't I be here? Seeing her skeptical expression. Husband? Don't you dare dream. How can my father marry me off to a gaudily dressed man like you? Wang Tianyi quickly presented his evidence. Your Highness, the Emperor has betrothed you to me. The princess gasped in shock. Impossible. This absolutely cannot be. He continued, brimming with smugness. Let me read the decree to you myself. By the mandate of heaven, the Emperor decrees. Wang Tianyi committed. Upon reading this, his face paled at the following words. Committed treason, attempted to rebel against heaven and earth, sentenced to death by 9 familial exterminations. Execute. While she was still bewildered by this sudden turn of events, he was suddenly stabbed from behind. Even as he lay dying, he managed to accuse. You tricked me. Why? Why would you do this to me? The Emperor replied calmly, his tone strangely serene. You think you're worthy of the Xing-Ji throne? Their eyes met, sharp and intense. The princess barely managed to cry out, Elder brother, before he coldly interrupted. Even you, little sister? Xing-Ji, cornered and panicked, asked. We're blood siblings. Why do you want to kill me? What grievance do we have? That makes you treat me so cruelly? A sinister, cunning smile spread across his face. My dear little sister, you are the biggest obstacle in my path to domination. Meanwhile, Feng Piapiao's people had discovered Xiao Yushan's predicament. He bid farewell, saying, I'm returning to the manor. I'll be back tomorrow. He slowly walked towards the cave entrance and called out, Yi Ling. Startled and bewildered, she asked, Who are you? He coldly replied, It doesn't matter who I am. Someone sent me to eliminate an obstacle, and that obstacle is you. At the Heavenly Palace, 2 guards were quickly knocked unconscious. Yishan and Yun Gang immediately swapped clothes with them, then urgently searched for the princess together. While searching, they suddenly heard a loud rooster crow. Yun Gang exclaimed in panic. This is bad. It's coming from the Heavenly Palace. A monster was rushing out from there, followed by another one, leaving them both terrified. Yishan urged as he ran. This is not good. Princess Xingji, where are you? Princess Xingji might be in grave danger. Upon arriving, he found the princess lying unconscious on the ground and quickly scooped her up, shouting, Princess Xingji. Her older brother was still leisurely inquiring. You, are you Yishan? The young man quickly realized the true identity of the person before him, the noble crown prince. This place is dangerous. We can't stay here any longer. He then urged his close friend to leave immediately. Before leaving, Yin Gang shot a sharp, dagger-like look at him. Could the crown prince be the mastermind behind all of this? He quickly got to his feet and shouted with all his might. Someone, there's an assassin at the Zijian Shan cave. Ling Er was desperately trying to explain everything. There's absolutely nothing going on between the young master and me. Please believe me. Why would the Feng family frame me like this? Why would they force me into such a desperate situation? Hearing these pleas, the assassin remained completely loyal to his master, unwavering. I don't care if there's something going on between you two or not. You must die. Only then can my young mistress find peace. By killing this seductress, I will be ridding the world of evil and saving people from disaster. Hearing the words seductress, forcing her to fight back with all her might. I, Yi Ling, have never intended to harm anyone. The ones who deserve to die are you. After the earth-shattering clash, seeing Zhu Yin lying motionless beside a large boulder, Zhou Wu slowly approached and declared boldly, Even if you cultivated for another 10,000 years, you would still be no match for me. And yet you dare to show your face and defend someone else, sticking your neck out for them. Zhou Wu's heart was filled with rage. Damn it, just stepped out and ran into this guy. What bad luck. Looks like a fight is inevitable. Then, he let out a loud roar. Zhu Yin, go back to wherever you came from. I don't have time to deal with a mountain girl like you. Suddenly, he remembered the princess and abruptly stopped. This is bad. How could I have left her there? Seeing an opportunity, Zhu Yin tried to escape, but she was quickly discovered by Zhou Wu. He immediately used his demonic energy field to counterattack. Zhou Wu refused to submit, instantly unleashing his ultimate technique, Foolish Gods Ruin His Tale. He then bid farewell to old Seven Zhou Wu. Uncle Yem, I'll be back. And in the blink of an eye, he vanished without a trace, leaving it consumed by rage and hatred. Damn it, he escaped again. We can't pursue him any further. The princess is in danger. It dragged its injured tail and hurried back. Inside the palace, chaos reigned. Yishin searched for an escape route while anxiously thinking. Princess Xing Shi, you must be safe, Yin Gang urgently suggested. The palace gates are just ahead. Let's chase after them. Yishin suddenly sensed something amiss, dodging a fatal blow while carrying the princess. Yi Tianxiong's group arrived just in time, shouting, "You can't run anymore." And Mo Lao urgently warned, his voice filled with anxiety. This is bad. It's an emergency. All the Divine Ability Realm experts are panicking and coming here. As the three were in a state of shock, they suddenly saw a strange object descending from the sky. The bizarre sight prompted Yun Gang to exclaim to Yi Chun, Who is that? Zhou Wu quickly appeared, making him vaguely realize it was Xiao Qiu. Zhou Wu just circled the Imperial Palace once and created an earth-shattering explosion, shaking the entire palace. Witnessing this scene, Yi Tianxiong couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment. What kind of monster is this? Then his eyes widened as he followed Zhou Wu's every move, his face full of terror. His gaze was fixed on Zhou Wu, unwavering. After bringing the princess to safety, Yichen repeatedly called out, "What's wrong? What happened to you?" Seeing her still unresponsive, he grew even more worried and anxious. Self-blame welled up inside him. It's all my fault. I'm so useless. Zhou Wu quickly took the blame upon himself. They all blame me, saying I was negligent for a moment and betrayed Tiango's trust. She was hit by the soul destruction technique. This information piqued Mo Lao's curiosity, arousing his interest. That wasn't the soul destruction technique that Yi Qing Tian used on Qingyun platform, was it? Zhou Wu immediately confirmed in an exasperated tone. That's right. It was Zhu Yin who taught it to him. Yishin also hurriedly spoke up and asked, Xiao Chu, Zhu Yin, is that the white monkey? What happened? Zhou Wu quickly corrected Yishin's words. Xiao Chu what? I'm Zhou Wu. Zhou Wu's words left Yishin and Yun Gang dumbfounded, and they both asked in unison, Zhou Wu, what's that? How would I know? Only Mo Lao could offer an explanation. It's recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. I told you to read more books. As for that Zhu Yin, it's also an ancient divine beast. With its emergence, the day of great chaos is not far off. Zhou Wu then hurriedly issued a warning. Zhu Yin has left. Yi Chun, you need to be thoroughly prepared. Hearing this, a flicker of disappointment crossed his face. Saving the world again? I couldn't even protect my sister and the princess. How can I possibly save others? Zhou Wu reacted fiercely. Say that again. Yi Chun remained defiant, emphasizing each word. Saving the world or not, that's the savior's business. Whoever wants to do it can do it. His contemptuous words enraged Zhou Wu to the core. To possess the Tu Shan Hong Hong is to hold the entire world in your hand. I'd rather kill you now to prevent future troubles than let that vile woman steal her away. Zhou Wu's sharp claws lunged towards the princess, prompting Yi Chun to react without hesitation, flashing forward to save her. This action made Mo Lao burst into laughter. Meanwhile, he was still bewildered, asking, what's going on? Was quickly answered by him. His pulse is still there. This lad can still be saved. Lin Yun Gang also let out a sigh of relief. You almost scared me to death. As night fell, blanketing everything in darkness, Yichen gazed at the bright moon and murmured to himself, my little sister used to blame me for only having my older sister in my heart. But in truth, my little sister has always been in my heart too. Lost in his moment of vulnerability, he suddenly heard Yun Gang's panicked shout. The blood moon has appeared again. Old Mo suddenly remembered something and hurriedly said, "Today is the young master's wedding day. Misfortunes truly never come singly." Yi-chan sighed heavily. "Today is also my older sister's 17th birthday. I wonder how my older sister is doing." Yin Gang rushed to his side and comforted him. "Don't worry, the Purple Sword Villa's prestige shakes the heavens. How could anything happen there?" But unexpectedly, Ling Er appeared, her body covered in wounds. Were slowly making their way into the city. A girl suddenly appeared in the middle of the ongoing wedding ceremony, causing Feng Piapiao to scream in terror. Yiling, the guests began to murmur and gossip amongst themselves. "Who is this? Covered in blood. I'm afraid this person doesn't come with good intentions." As Pia Piao felt uneasy and anxious, just as she feared, a voice rang out. "Why haven't you eliminated her yet?" Xiao Yushan's mind was filled with worry and endless anxiety. "Linger, why are you here? Why are you covered in blood?" Feng Tiexiong, the master of Lianhui Dian Manor and Feng Pia Piao's father, spoke up in a furious tone. "Who is this girl?" Not letting them wait any longer, Yilinger stepped forward boldly and spoke. "Today is your wedding day. I have a special gift for you." Unexpectedly, the gift was the severed head of an assassin, causing all the guests to be horrified and panic-stricken. "Someone's dead." Feng Tiexiong also jumped up, shouting loudly. "This girl is incredibly arrogant. How dare she disrupt my daughter's wedding?" The high-ranking official roared with fury. In stark contrast to the official's rage, Xiao Chongqing remained remarkably calm. He gently advised, "Let's calmly observe the situation first." Yi Ling Ni, her eyes filled with burning hatred, declared loudly, "This is the assassin she sent after me. Today, I will have my revenge." Feng Feifei vehemently denied the accusations, desperately trying to evade the truth. "You're slandering me," he shouted. Without hesitation, Ling Ni presented irrefutable evidence. "This is a unique hidden weapon of the Feng family," she asserted. "Only the Feng family's Lu Yi blade can be crafted to be so compact." Knowing he could no longer maintain a charade, Feng Feifei angrily dropped the act. He gritted his teeth and seethed. "You're a tough one to kill. So what do you want?" Amidst the tense atmosphere, Ling Ni calmly replied. She smiled and said, "Today also happens to be my birthday. I'm just here to collect a gift." Her words sent a ripple of murmurs and speculation through the crowd. They whispered amongst themselves, their curiosity piqued. The audacity of this young lady. Could it be she intends to turn this wedding? Does this fiend intend to bathe this place in blood? Feng Pia Piao urgently pressed, "What gift?" Only 3 short words were uttered. "A beloved one." The guests suddenly realized. So she's here to steal the groom. This girl is crazy. How could she? Xiao Yushan stammered in horror. A flicker of sadness crossed his eyes, lost in deep thought. How could I not want to? Seeing this, Yi Linger urged, "Brother Xiao Yushan, what are you waiting for?" Seeing the saber lying abandoned on the ground, an idea flashed through Feng Pia Piao's mind. "Don't blame me for being ruthless. You forced my hand." She quickly snatched the saber, charged towards the girl, and roared, "Yilinger, do you have a death wish?" At this moment, Xiao Yushan was completely powerless. He could only watch helplessly as Feng Pia Piao swung the saber and plunged it into Yiling. Her crimson wedding dress was instantly stained with fresh blood. The guests panicked, screaming in terror. "Murder! Murder!" Seeing Ling Er clutching the blade in agony, Feng Taixiong was horrified and quickly intervened. "Piao Piao, that's too dangerous." Xiao Yushan cried out in panic, "Ling Er," but she quickly stopped him. "Yushan, don't come closer." Even Piao Piao was stunned by her actions. "Yiling Er, I never thought you'd be so brave." Not even flinching, Ling Er's voice was filled with determination. "What's so scary about death? The world sees me as a demoness. Living is no better than dying." Xiao Yushan asked in pain, "Ling Er, why are you torturing yourself like this?" She turned to Piao Piao with a triumphant look. "Unlike me, you have to live day and night with someone who shares your bed, but not your dreams. That's a living hell." Her words were like salt in Piao Piao's wounds, enraging her to retort, "Mind your own business," and with lightning speed, drew his blade. "You want to die that badly? Fine, I'll grant your wish." Ling Er closed her eyes, accepting her cruel fate, surrendering to death. In her mind, a final message echoed. "Farewell, Yushan." He couldn't just stand by idly, his heart filled with rage. He unleashed a powerful attack, striking directly at Piao Piao. She collapsed to the ground, unconscious. Feng Taixiong rushed forward in a panic, catching his beloved daughter. He roared in fury, "Xiao Yushan, Do you want my Hua Shan manner to declare war on Zijian manner? Without hesitation, he channeled his energy into his sword, his eyes firm as he replied, "From now on, with me here, no one will lay a finger on her. Ling Er, hold on. I'll get you help." Xiao Chongqing tried to remain calm, advising his son, "Yushan, you need to think this through carefully. Once you step through this door, there will be no turning back." Tears streaming down his face, the young man gritted his teeth and answered, "Father, I'm truly sorry, but I cannot stand by and watch her depart from this world." With those words, he held Ling and I tightly in his arms and resolutely walked away. Witnessing this scene, Xiao Chongqing couldn't help but be overwhelmed with sorrow. Memories of what happened 17 years ago suddenly flooded back. During a casual conversation, he suddenly asked his old friend Qing Yun, "Brother, your wife is about to give birth, isn't she?" Qing Yun quickly confirmed, "Yes, that's right, sometime in the middle of next month." Chongqing then expressed his heartfelt hope. "If it's wonderful to have a baby girl. She'll become the wife of our young master. We already have 2 sons." Thinking about this, the old man silently wondered, looking at Qing Yun. Could this be fate? At Purple Sword Manor, Yichen looked at his master with a puzzled expression. "Master, what's wrong?" Xiao Chongqing angrily roared, "Don't call me master anymore." Yichen was stunned to hear those words from his master. Xiao Chongqing yelled accusingly, "You ruined Yu Cheng, and you deceived Yu Shan. Now my own niece, under your protection, has fallen into a coma." Yi Chun stammered after hearing this, managing only 2 words, "I..." Before he could finish, his master interrupted, "Leave. Get out of Purple Sword Manor. I can't tolerate a jinx like you." Xiao Chongqing slammed the door shut after saying that, ignoring Yi Chen's frantic cries from outside. "Master, master!" He banged on the door and pleaded repeatedly, "Master, please open the door. Please let me explain." But behind the door, only silence remained. No response came. In despair, he slumped to the ground, lost in his own memories. The scene shifted to Xiao Bai and Xiao Jiu arguing fiercely. Xiao Bai roared, "Princess Zhou Wu, what in the world are you doing?" Xiao Jiu immediately retorted, "You heavenly dog, why isn't Yi Chen's older sister here?" With that, they lunged at each other, biting and clawing ferociously. Meanwhile, inside the mountain manor, Pang Yungang was arguing with Xiao Chongqing. "Manor Lord, this can't be blamed on Yi Chun." At that time, the first prince hadn't even finished speaking before he was. The old master interrupted Yungang, "Say no more. The Manor Lord did this for Yi Chen's own good." Pang Yungang looked at the old master with a bewildered and confused expression. He then continued to explain to Yungang, "Those people from Lianhua Shanzhuang have always been competitive and eager to win. They definitely won't let Yi Chen go." The Manor Lord urged him to leave and seek refuge. Pang Yungang replied, "But Yi Ling Er is so badly injured. Is she alive or dead?" Xiao Chongqing replied, "She won't die." Pang Yungang was still worried and asked, "How can the Manor Lord be so sure?" He hesitated and said, Because I almost made a grave mistake myself many years ago." The scene flashes back 25 years, when Xiao Chongqing and Yi Qing Yun were young. The two had a fierce duel. Yi Qing Yun collapsed. Xiao Chongqing pointed his sword at his opponent and asked, "Brother Qing Yun, why didn't you dodge?" Yi Qing Yun replied, "What's so scary about death? Why was I treated like a monster by my sworn brother? Life is worse than death." Hearing this, Xiao Chongqing sorrowfully dropped his sword, helped the other up, and encouraged Qing Yun to persevere. "I can't do it." After hearing the story, Yun Gang curiously asked, "So what happened next?" Xiao Chongqing replied, "He was completely healed in just 3 days. Not even a small scratch remained." Even Yun Gang was astonished by Qing Yun's rapid recovery. Chosen by heaven, the bloodline of the Yi family is truly extraordinary. No wonder that kid Yi Shinji has such a strong body. Old Mo added, "Yi Shun is protected by the dragon elephant subduing demon art, and he inherited the special bloodline of the Yi family, Yi Ling." Xiao Chongqing bowed his head in thought. "I have failed Qing Yun and Yi Ling. I cannot fail Yi Shun again." He then lifted the Xiao family's ancient sword, carefully observing it for a long moment. Then he bowed, his face filled with emotion, and reverently handed the sword back to Elder Mo, saying, "Elder Mo, I now understand you have a method to find Yushan and Yilinger. I implore you to take this ancestral sword of the Xiao family and deliver it to Yushan. Meanwhile, On Liangong Street, Yi-chun sat quietly by the cliff face, lost in worry and deep thought. The world is so vast, but where can I find my place? My sister and senior brother are together. They must be very happy. He then reached into his pocket and pulled out a jade pendant, remembering the words of the Queen Mother of the West. Young master, if you have come to understand, take this token and come find me in the capital. Yi-chun thought to himself, in this world, the only thing I can't bear to let go of is my little sister. Jingxi, may you rest in peace. The young man gently unfolded the map leading to the magnificent palace of Shi Wangmu atop the majestic Kunlun Mountains. Placing the precious jade pendant onto the map, he embarked on the arduous journey to seek out Shi Wangmu. Yi-chun trudged heavily up the steps, his face vacant like someone who had lost his soul. His mind was consumed by memories of a painful past. It had been a long time since he felt this alone. Those joyful days spent with his companions, how happy they were. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out from afar. Yi-chun, you're so slow. Startled, he looked up. Ahead, Pang Yunkong, Mo Lao, and Zhou were waiting for him. Yi-chun quickly ran and embraced Yunkong tightly. He exclaimed joyfully, Mo Lao, Brother Pang, I knew you guys wouldn't leave me behind. Pang Yun-gang's cheeks flushed, a hint of embarrassment in his eyes. Oh my God, you cheesy little brat, Izo exclaimed. Mo Lao silently observed Yi-chun happily petting Xiao Jiao. He murmured under his breath, Xiao Jiao, I missed you so much. Xiao Jiao immediately retorted, correcting Yi-chun. My name is Zhou Wu. Ouch, it feels so good to be free. Yi-chun suddenly understood the meaning in Mo Lao's gaze. He sighed, about to ask, Master you, before Yi-chun could finish. Mo Lao interrupted, cutting off Yi-chun's train of thought. Your master's story. I'll tell you slowly later. Scene change. The three decided to stay the night in the forest. Mo Lao and Yun Gang patiently explained everything to Yi-chun, helping him clear up the misunderstanding with Xiao Chongqing. Yi-chun exclaimed, so that's how it was. Master has always loved me. Yun Gang continued to explain. All the food, travel expenses, and even this horse were prepared for us by the estate master. Elder Mo continued, turning to Yi-chun and asking, Indeed, where were you originally planning to go? The young man replied, I intended to travel alone to Kunlun Mountain to seek an audience with the Queen Mother of the West, to request medicine to cure Princess Jingxi. I can't let her remain in this condition. Elder Mo praised. Not bad. You even know how to read. Then he turned to Yun Gang. You should follow Yi-chun and learn from him. Yi-chun hesitated slightly before speaking. Elder Mo, Brother Yun Gang, could you both accompany me? Yun Gang immediately replied without hesitation. Of course. Do you think I'm the only one worthy of being the princess's guard? Elder Mo sighed. The encounter between the three of us is by fate's design. I fear that in the days to come, whether you want to or not, it will be difficult to avoid encountering us again. As soon as Elder Mo finished speaking, the two young men looked puzzled. Both of them asked in unison, What do you mean? The old man explained, Because we all share a common origin from ancient times. The Pang family, your ancestral roots trace back to the Xie sect, once a powerful right hand, aiding Emperor Wu in ancient times. And Yi-chun, you were chosen by the Daiyu sword. Strangely enough, the three of us are reunited thanks to a fateful encounter with this princess. Could it be that all of this was preordained? Lost in deep thought, Yi-chun silently wondered, why has destiny chosen us? Can we truly succeed? Old Mo sighed and continued. Placing such a heavy burden on the shoulders of a mere teenager is indeed a bit cruel. Pang Yunkong glanced at the worried Yi-chun, proudly raising his fist in reassurance. Don't be afraid. We still have my SA-8 fists. Old Mo suddenly remembered something and smacked his forehead. Without the spirit fragment, even going to Kunlun would be futile. Pang Yunkong asked in confusion, Why? Old Mo pulled down the brim of his hat and replied sternly, You wouldn't understand even if I told you. In short, we must first go to Pang family village. Hearing this, Pang Yunsong was immediately overcome with sorrow, quietly walking to a secluded corner. Seeing this, Yi-chun curiously asked Old Mo, What's wrong with Brother Pang? Just mentioning the spirit fragment, and he gets all dejected. Old Mo replied with a smile, He's all right, just worried he'll disappoint the entire village's expectations. Yi-chun asked in surprise, What do you mean by the entire village's expectations? Old Mo just chuckled and replied, When you get to Pang village, you'll understand for yourself. At Pang village, The villagers immediately recognized Pang Yunsong. The children cheered with delight, eagerly running to surround him, playfully chattering. Meanwhile, at that moment, Yishun and Xiao Jiu looked at Yunsong with a slightly sympathetic expression. Yishun now understood everything. He truly was the hope of the entire village. Yunsong went to greet his two uncles. Upon seeing his nephew, the old man immediately began to scold him. "You rascal! Gone for so long, not even a single letter. Such heartlessness. You've forgotten all about us." Pang Yunchong could only chuckle at his second uncle's reproach, replying, "I've been terribly busy, uncle." Yishun stood beside them, observing Pang Yunchong's warm interactions with the villagers, then said, "Brother Pang's connection with the people here is truly profound." Old Mo spoke up, explaining, "Yunchong was orphaned at a young age, raised on the rice and kindness of this village. Everyone in the village considers him one of their own." As he spoke, the old man reminisced, remembering when Yunchong was first taken in. The villagers adored the little boy, looking at him and thinking, this time the Star Fragment clan might have hope. Yishan was taken aback. He hadn't realized that even Brother Pang had endured such a difficult childhood. Difficult isn't quite the right word. The residents of Pang Family Village were all law-abiding citizens, treating him with utmost care and consideration. Elder Mo immediately replied, explaining in detail. Yichin suddenly understood, but in his heart he pondered, if only the Yi family were as compassionate as this, perhaps my sister and I wouldn't have to wander and endure such poverty. Meanwhile, the villagers persistently urged Pang Yunjun to pay respects to the ancestral weapon. However, he replied, "Why pay respects to the ancestral weapon? I should go check on the village chief first." Dissatisfied with his attitude, the villagers immediately became enraged, dragging him away and yelling, "Is this the time to visit the village chief? The ancestral weapon has protected our village for generations. Go pay your respects." The scene changed. Yunjun brought Yi Chun to stand before a gigantic star fragment. It was Yichen's first time witnessing a star fragment. Witnessing the scene before him, he exclaimed excitedly, "Is this the Xing Chun broken sword? It's truly enormous." Yishen stepped closer, lightly touched the Xing Chun broken sword, and then turned to ask Mo Lao, "Ancestor, how are you able to move it here?" Mo Lao calmly explained, "The close friend of Wu Di, after heroically sacrificing himself in the battle against Xiang Lu, his body fell here. The divine weapon, Xing Chun broken sword, followed its master and ended up here, and it hasn't moved since." In his lifetime, Wu Di's comrade possessed an exceptionally tall and large physique. But ever since his passing, for some unknown reason, the people of the Pang family have become increasingly shorter. The old man continued thoughtfully, "Until Pang Yungang was born, everyone believed that he had inherited the bloodline of the ancestor, and that's why they called him the hope of the entire village." After listening, Yishin smiled and patted Pang Yungang on the shoulder. "So that's how it is, Brother Pang. Brother, you must stay strong." And Mo Lao continued, worry etched on his face. "If you truly understand, then I can be at peace." Hearing this, Pang Yungang felt incredibly awkward. He quickly changed the subject. "Let's go visit Grandpa Village Chief. I miss him so much. It's been so long since I've seen him." With that, Pang Yungang turned and walked ahead, leaving Mo Lao behind with a worried sigh. The three of them arrived at Grandpa Village Chief's house. The door was still closed. Pang Yungang called out loudly from outside, "Grandpa Village Chief, I'm back." As he spoke and cracked open the door, suddenly from inside, a wooden staff came flying out, hurtling straight towards Pang Yungang. The wooden staff whizzed through the air like an arrow, aimed directly at Pang Yungang. He nimbly dodged to the side. But before he could catch his breath, another sound rang out from behind him. It turned out that the old master was the one who made the noise. He suddenly unleashed a lightning-fast kick aimed directly at Yungang. This action was intended to test the young man's martial arts skills. Yungang once again successfully neutralized the old master's attack, proving his exceptional abilities. He excitedly exclaimed, "Old master, you really are old." That kick just now didn't have any power behind it at all. But before he could finish his sentence, the old master vanished into thin air, disappearing from Yungang's sight. The sudden event left Yungang astonished, and he blurted out, "Whoa, where did he go?" Suddenly, the old master appeared eerily right behind Yungang. Planting his wooden staff firmly on the ground, he said in a deep voice, "Whether I'm old or not, you'll soon find out." The old master used the staff to launch himself into the air with incredible force. He unleashed a devastating kick from above, aimed squarely at Yun Gang's backside. The powerful blow sent Yun Gang flying into the wall. Not stopping there, the old master continued his momentum, making Pang Yun Gang's face drain of color in terror. He repeatedly yelled, "I surrender. I give up." Hearing this, old Pang stopped, planting his staff firmly on the ground, and slowly said, 3 years out, and not only haven't your skills improved, but your surrender speed has increased considerably. Pang Yun Gang replied, "That's not true at all. Clearly, you're just getting more nimble and stronger with age." The old man chuckled, saying, "You rascal, you've got quite the silver tongue." With that, old Pang went to greet old Mo, and the scene changed. Old Mo and old Pang were seated inside, enjoying a tea ceremony. Old Mo spoke with a grave expression. "The thing is, it's all because the 7 of us failed to properly protect the princess. Things have already come to this." The old man replied, "Brother Mo, there's no need to blame yourself so much." He continued, "But what is going to Kunlun to seek a divine elixir have to do with the star fragment?" Old Mo countered old Pang with a question. "Do you know the other name for the star fragment?" As the words left his mouth, both Yi Shun and Pang Yun Gang were stunned, their faces etched with surprise. "Another name? Saw." Elder Mo's voice was low and serious as he began to explain. "That is the key to the mystical Kunlun." Meanwhile, at the dignified Missouri estate, Yi Linger and Xiao Yushan were standing beside the princess' bedside, their faces filled with worry. Linger spoke softly, her voice tinged with hope. "Xiao Shun and the others, I hope they can quickly find a way to awaken the princess." Yushan comforted her. "Don't worry, Linger. Yi Shun and the others must have reached Kunlun by now." Suddenly, Mo Yin appeared from behind them, shaking her head. "It's not that simple. Even Xiao Yushan, his sworn brother, doesn't know their true destination. They're still missing something, the SEO key." Back in the quiet Pang village, after hearing the other name for the star fragment, the old man asked, "The key to Kunlun. Saw, what is that?" At this very moment, outside the village, a villager came running in a panic, his face etched with worry. He banged on the door repeatedly, shouting loudly, "Village chief! Village chief! Something terrible has happened." Hearing the commotion, Yi Chun asked with concern, "What's all the fuss about? What happened?" Pang Yunchang quickly reassured Yi Chun, "My Pang family has lived and prospered here for generations. Nothing serious could possibly happen." Pang Yunchang's words were taken as empty reassurances, and Yi Chun and Xiao Jiu exchanged worried glances. They both said in unison, "Something definitely happened." The villager, bursting through the door, exclaimed, "Just now, someone spotted a fire rat on the mountain." Hearing this, Pang Yunchang clapped Yi Chun on the shoulder and said excitedly, "A fire rat? Fantastic! Time for me to show off my skills. Yi Chun, come with me to catch the fire rat." Still confused, Yi Chun leaned in and whispered to Xiao Jiu, "What in the world is a fire rat?" Even Xiao Jiu, the system, couldn't help but sigh in exasperation. "You useless thing, I'm too lazy to explain it to you." Scene change. Yun Gang, along with Yi Shun and Xiao Jiu, quietly ascended the mountain, stalking their prey. Before them was a giant rat, living up to its name, Fire Rat, with blood-red eyes and snow-white fur. Yun Gang pointed at the rat, his voice filled with excitement. "There! That's the fire rat." Yishin looked dubious. "Isn't it called the fire rat? Why is its fur white?" Yin Gang immediately explained. "The fire rat only turns red when it's in fire. You don't know, but it's a treasure." Yishin sighed wearily, pointing at the rat standing blankly. "That thing? It looks so dumb. What's so precious about it?" Yin Gang replied smugly. "A coat made from fire rat fur is worth a fortune." He continued. "Fire rat fur coats are made from the skin of this monster, dried in. Wearing it makes you immune to fire." Yishan curiously asked, "If it's that powerful, why not make a whole suit of armor? It's just a fire rat. A palm-sized piece of cloth is more than enough. Couldn't catch even 2 of these little guys in a whole year. You're really lucky. First time here, and you run into one." Pang Yun-sung replied. Yishin suddenly wore a worried expression, saying, "Hearing you say that, I suddenly have a bad feeling about this." Pang Yun-sung sighed, comfortingly. "Nothing's going to happen." Before Yun-sung could finish, Yishun hurriedly covered his mouth, yelling, "Shut your mouth, you jinx. Every time you say nothing's going to happen, something definitely happens. Yi Shun's thunderous voice startled the rat, causing it to flee in a panic. Peng Yunkong quickly brushed Yi Chen's hand aside, urgently saying, "Stop playing around. The fire rat is getting away." The two immediately chased after the small fire rat. Yunkong nimbly jumped ahead, cutting off the rat's escape route. Yi Chen followed closely behind, providing backup. Trapped between the two, the little rat was in a dilemma, unable to advance or retreat. Peng Yunkong said, "Let's try to catch it alive first. If that doesn't work, we'll use the method I told you about." As if sensing the imminent danger, the rat suddenly leaped into the air. It unleashed a lightning-fast kick, aimed directly at the center of Yunkong's face. A burst of flames erupted, engulfing the rat's entire body. Its fur also instantly turned bright red. The critical blow left a huge rat-shaped footprint on Peng Yunkong's face. Not only that, because the rat had suddenly transformed into fire, Yunkong was badly burned, crying out in pain. He didn't forget to warn his brother. "Yi Chun, careful!" The fire rat bounced back, charging straight towards Yi Chun. He nimbly dodged the attack, not forgetting to taunt the fire rat. "You think you can hurt me with such meager skills? You're so naive." Yin Gang abruptly stood up and yelled, "Don't just keep dodging. Don't let it escape." Yi Shen quickly pulled out a prepared water bottle, uncapped it, and splashed the water directly onto the ferocious fire rat. Hit by the water, the fire rat shrieked in pain, then collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, Yin Gang regretfully ran over, picked up the barely breathing fire rat, and wailed dramatically. Fire rat meat soaked in water won't be tasty anymore. Just then, the entire mountain suddenly shook violently. Both of them were startled and exclaimed in unison, "Is it an earthquake?" Suddenly, from the mountaintop, a gigantic fireball began rolling down with terrifying speed. "What's happening?" At the crater, "What is that fireball?" They cried out in terror. A horrifying scene unfolded. The volcano began to erupt violently. Deep inside the cave, a fire rat lay motionless. Suddenly, with a furious expression, it opened its jaws wide and lunged outward. In a flash, the fire rat burst from the cave. Outside, Yi Chun and Pang Yun Gang exchanged puzzled glances and spoke up. "What was that?" Just then, a massive swarm of rats, seemingly endless in number, appeared. Pang Yun Gang and Yi Chen's eyes widened in terror, sweat pouring down their faces as they stammered in fear. So many fire rats. Panic-stricken, Pang Yun Gang urgently urged Yi Chun, "Quickly, go back to the village and get help." The horde of fire rats began to descend towards the base of the volcano. All three of them, along with Xiao, Jiao, swiftly turned and fled. In their frantic escape, a thought suddenly struck Yi Chun, making him exclaim, "This is bad." The scene shifts to a peaceful, small village. A man's panic scream, "It's too late," rings out, sending villagers scrambling out into the courtyard, their faces etched with terror. They see Yi Shun running for his life, straight towards the base of a volcano erupting with lava. Without hesitation, he summons the Great Yu Sword. Sword in hand, Yi Shun bravely approaches the horde of ferociously screeching fire rats. Witnessing this, Pang Yun Gang shouts in alarm, "What are you waiting for? Run!" Raising his sword high above his head, Yi Shun calmly replies, "Go find Mo Lao and the others. I'll hold back these fire rats." He continues, his voice firm, "Hurry!" Immediately, Pang Yun Gang turns and runs, shouting as he goes. "Hold on." Xiao Jiao felt both amused and thoughtful, a flurry of questions swirling in his mind. His mouth said he wasn't bothered, not worried in the slightest, but his body told a different story, his limbs clumsy and flustered. Upon reaching his destination, Pang Yunchong didn't hesitate, didn't even think, but reached out and flung open the double doors with a look of sheer terror, shouting frantically, "Old master, it's bad. Something terrible has happened." The fierce battle between the ferocious fire rats and our valiant Yi Shun was still far from over. His sharp sword felled one fire rat, rendering it unconscious. However, he continued to unleash the powerful dragon elephant palm technique to hold back the remaining onslaught of fire rats. Exhausted, Yi Shun let out a weary sigh. Are they never going to end? Despite having used all his martial arts skills, the fire rats, fearless of death, continued their relentless attack. Finally, he had to call upon his cat, Xiao Jiao, for help. "Hey, sleepyhead, get over here and lend a hand." Xiao Jiao didn't hesitate. and immediately retorted, "What's the rush? Young people need their exercise. Besides, with all the tricks Yi Chen's been pulling to fight off these fire rats, he's bound to be exhausted by now." Just then, Pang Yunkong appeared in the nick of time. With lightning speed, he stretched out his hand, stopping the oncoming horde of fire rats. Soon after, Elder Mo and the Old Master arrived. Observing the situation, Elder Mo appeared incredibly calm and impressed, praising Yi Chun. "This kid's not bad. He actually held out this long." At the same time, Yi Chun, with his back to Pang Yunkong, breathed a sigh of relief and blurted out, "Finally, you're all here." Pang Yunkong immediately posed a question, his tone laced with mockery and disdain for Yi Chun. "Little brat, are you out of breath?" Yi Chun was still defiant and loudly challenged the AI. "Let's see if the AI can kill more than I can." Pang Yungang couldn't refuse this challenge, ecstatic at the sight of the massive horde of fire rats. Perhaps this time, he would strike it rich. However, before this difficult battle, the old master couldn't stand idly by. He rushed into the fray, wielding his longevity staff, striking down the pesky rats. After a fierce battle, finally, Old Mo had eliminated a large number of fire rats, leaving them scattered on the ground. But the fight was far from over. The volcano trembled violently once more, terrifying everyone outside once again. Xiao Jiu pouted and muttered, "After the baby rats, it's the old rats' turn. Is it done? This is all within my calculations." A gigantic fire rat suddenly appeared. It plunged down from the erupting volcano. Witnessing its incredible speed, everyone panicked at the monster's colossal size and exclaimed, "How can there be such a massive fire rat?" Faced with this terrifying sight, everyone standing before the volcano was utterly petrified. However, Old Master Z couldn't believe his eyes at what was unfolding. With a stunned expression, he murmured, "Legend has it that within this volcano lives a fire rat king. I can't believe it's actually true." Yi Shen stood there, ready to fight. A worthy opponent has finally appeared. He turned and ran, shouting, "This monster is mine." With that, he charged forward, ignoring the desperate cries of those around him. Yi Shun was brimming with confidence, determined to test out the new ultimate technique he had been tirelessly practicing. He wanted to see just how powerful it was. In a flash, the Fire Rat King lunged at Yi Shun with incredible speed. He closed his eyes, centering himself to unleash the move. Meanwhile outside, Pang Yungang paced restlessly, consumed by worry. "Yi Shun," he shouted, "are you just going to stand there and die?" And then, the earth-shattering battle between Yi Shun and the Fire Rat King began. Yi Shun made his move. The Fire Rat King retaliated, spewing forth flames of every imaginable color. Yi Shun opened his eyes, charging forward and bellowing the name of his technique. Dragon Elephant Fist. Wind Palm. He poured all his strength into his fist, landing a critical blow on the Fire Rat King's head. The battle raged on fiercely, shaking the very foundations of the earth and causing the landscape to tremble. But finally, the Fire Rat King succumbed to the overwhelming power and collapsed dead. Witnessing this, Xiao Jiu, Old Master, and Mo Lao were utterly astonished, their eyes wide with awe and admiration. Yi Chen's extraordinary abilities were no exception. Pang Yungang couldn't help but praise Yi Chen lavishly. He asked curiously, "Young man, when did you secretly cultivate such a formidable technique?" Yi Chen responded with a friendly smile, "I just recently grasped it. Isn't it impressive?" As for Elder Mo, he was lost in thought, his head bowed. Focusing the dragon elephant power onto a single point to create such force is truly remarkable. The conversation between Yi Chun and Pang Yungang continued with great enthusiasm and excitement, but something seemed amiss, causing Pang Yungang's expression to suddenly change, and he abruptly fell silent. Indeed, he told Yi Chen to look behind him. Yi Chen couldn't understand what was happening behind his back. He asked, "What's behind me?" A true surprise awaited. The Huashu Wang suddenly revived, appearing majestically behind Yi Shan, causing Yi Shan to break out in a cold sweat, utterly terrified. He was speechless, unable to utter a word. The Huashu Wang waved his hand, sending Yi Shan flying. Pang Yungang, witnessing the scene, burst into mocking laughter. Handsome for all of 3 seconds, the Huashu Wang's sudden resurrection sent Yi Shan into a frenzy, roaring with rage. "I don't believe it. Today, I will capture you." Yishun roared, unleashing the Pang Xiong Shui Nong technique. Pang Yun Gang scratched his head, suddenly remembering something, slapping his forehead and saying, I almost forgot. I still have this. He pulled a small vial filled with liquid from his pocket. A triumphant look spread across Pang Yun Gang's face as he exclaimed, This time, you're dead for sure. He quickly uncorked the vial, flinging the liquid inside towards the Hua Shu Wang. Despite being doused with pure water, the fire rat remained completely unharmed, seemingly unaffected. Its massive form repelled the water, leaving both Pang Yungang and Yishin stunned, speechless in astonishment. Xiao Jiao, overwhelmed with embarrassment, thought to himself, This is so humiliating. As for Mo Lao, witnessing this daunting scene, he could only silently shake his head, let out a sigh, and utter, Oh dear, hold on. This fire rat isn't just any ordinary rat. This little bit of water won't even faze it. Xiao Ju let out a heavy sigh and said indignantly, This is clearly a lost cause. Use your brain for once. Brute force isn't always the answer. Although the fire rat remained defiant, Yichin remained calm, casually clapping and praising Xiao Jiao. As expected of my divine beast. Truly magnificent. Xiao Jiao's eyes turned red with fury, and it roared, Shut up. Who's your divine beast? Hearing those unpleasant words, Xiao Jiao's ears rang. Yi Chun frowned, a look of displeasure on his face. I've taken care of you for so long. There should be some loyalty. Xiao Jiao became even more furious upon hearing Yi Chen's words. Its eyes burned with rage as it yelled, I would have ascended long ago if I hadn't followed you. Yi Chen was speechless, completely silent at the cat's suggestive words, the one he had taken in all this time. While Yi Chun and Xiao Jiao were chatting, Peng Yin Gang was struggling, sweating profusely, against the fire rat. He exclaimed in terror, Damn it, the fire rat king is still alive. With the situation hanging by a thread, Yi Chen reached up and scratched his head, a worried expression on his face. He muttered, This rat is covered in flames. Even celestial arts are useless. This is truly troublesome. Hearing his master's lament, Xiao Jiao, who was hovering nearby, scolded, You're such a waste. You have an emperor's weapon and don't know how to use it. Xiao Jiao's words were a wake-up call, causing Yi Chun to suddenly understand. He decided to unleash the Great Yu Sword technique. The mighty Great Yu Sword gradually materialized in Yi Chen's hand. Gripping his sword tightly, Yi Shen blurted out, Damn cat. If I had used the Great Yu Sword from the start, I wouldn't be so humiliated. Xiao Jiao stood beside him, unsure what to do, only able to offer a naive, helpless expression mixed with her usual stubbornness. In a flash, Yi Shun charged straight towards the Hua Shu Wang, Fire Rat King. The enraged demon roared, preparing to fight. With unbridled fury, the Hua Shu Wang, Fire Rat King, howled in rage, revealing sharp fangs. A fierce battle erupted between the young man and the ferocious fire rat, a relentless clash with neither side gaining an advantage. Yi Shun, still gripping his sword, could only utter frustrated groans. This rat's strength is incredible. The Hua Shu Wang's, Fire Rat King, extraordinary power made him realize that ordinary techniques were completely useless. Suddenly, a bizarre idea popped into his head. The key tactic was to utilize speed to achieve victory. Even so, the Hua Shu Wang, Fire Rat King, stubbornly resisted, refusing to yield. It charged towards Yi Shun with lightning speed. Yi Shun exclaimed in shock, What the hell is this? It's speed. It's even faster than me. Yi Shun lightly stroked his sword, stomped his foot on the ground, regaining his composure and strategizing. Dragon Elephant Fist. Its ferocious power was enough to subdue this rat before. Great Yu Sword technique can severely injure it. Yi Shun furrowed his brow, deciding to take a gamble. He leaped into the air, beginning the fight for his life. Yi Shun unleashed a series of powerful attacks. First, the Dragon Elephant Fist, followed by the summoned Fist of the Wind Ring. The fire rat changed from crimson red to ghastly green, staggering to its feet. Beside the raging inferno, a river materialized. People rushed to the riverbank to gather water, desperately trying to extinguish the blazing flames. Pang Yunchang doused the colossal, furiously burning fire rat with water, as Mo Lao and the old master witnessed the entire unfolding of the battle. Immediately, the old master declared that in the 1,000-year history of Pang Village, there had never been a precedent of a fire rat attack. This creature possessed an earth-shattering power, leading him to exclaim, I've always had a feeling that this incident is far from simple. The fierce battle finally came to an end. The Fire Rat King collapsed, and Yi Shun slumped to the ground, still clutching his sword, breathing a sigh of relief. Is it finally over? Is everything all right now? Shout Jio's sword in the sky, eyes closed in contemplation. This kid isn't completely hopeless after all. He catches on quick. However, an unexpected and unforeseen turn of events suddenly unfolded. The volcano once again erupted violently, plunging everyone into terror. Blurted out a skeptical question. What's happening now? The volcano suddenly erupted violently, spewing molten lava. The terrifying scene made Xiao Bai's eyes widen in shock. He suddenly remembered something and exclaimed in panic, "This is bad. Once the Hua Shu Wang falls, there will be no one left to suppress this volcano." Xiao Bai immediately transformed at lightning speed, letting out a resounding roar. Xiao Mo, quickly help me stop the lava flow. Old Mo could only lower his head and mumble a reply, his face full of embarrassment. Yi Shun and Pang Yungang looked at each other, exchanging knowing smiles. Xiao Mo, Old Mo, and Xiao Jiu quickly flew into the air. Xiao Jiu ordered Old Mo, "Go to the foot of the mountain. Wait for me to block the lava flow. Then assist me. Stop the parts of the lava flow that I can't handle." Old Mo didn't hesitate, turning around and flying straight to the foot of the mountain, agreeing to Xiao Jiu's request. "All right, I'll go to the foot of the mountain and await your command." Xiao Jiu suddenly yelled, "Use your pigtails!" Instantly, countless pigtails detached from Xiao Jiu's body, expanding in size and forming a brilliant arc in the air. From the foot of the mountain, Mo Lao observed the situation, planting his staff firmly into the ground and beginning to chant a summoning spell. Summon Zhaoze Royal Staff. As the words left his lips, a series of gigantic cacti erupted from the earth, encircling the entire base of the mountain. Some of the cacti even reached up the slopes of the volcano, blocking the flow of the surging lava. Everything seemed to be under control. Xiao Jiu and Mo Lao both breathed a sigh of relief. Witnessing this spectacular scene, Yi Shun and Pang Yungang stood frozen in awe, their eyes wide and unblinking, also letting out a long sigh of relief. Pang Yungang, overjoyed, threw his hands up in the air and jumped for joy, exclaiming, "I knew it! With Mo Lao and Xiao Jiu here, there's nothing to worry about." Pang Yungang's confident words made Yi Shun immediately turn to look at him. Quickly covering Pang Wenquang's mouth, Yi Shun said exasperatedly, "Brother Pang, can you please stop talking for a moment?" Witnessing the scene before them, everyone was utterly astonished. The volcano suddenly erupted violently, spewing scorching lava. Yi Shun could only helplessly point at Pang Wenquang and sigh. "Look, your crow's mouth has struck again." Embarrassed, Pang Wenquang quickly covered his mouth with both hands, falling silent. Xiao Jiu and Old Mo were horrified, their eyes wide with fear as they stammered, This. The molten lava flowed forward, engulfing Xiao Jiu's bright pink tail in flames. The fire spread rapidly, igniting the surrounding cacti. Xiao Jiu frantically tried to retract its tail, but the burning tail was stuck fast to Xiao Jiu. "It's hot! It's so hot!" Xiao Jiu cried out in agony. In excruciating pain, Xiao Jiu rolled on the ground to extinguish the flames, unable to bear it any longer. Xiao Jiu reverted to its original form, tears streaming down its face as it curled up on the ground. Its scorched, red tail lay limp beside its small body. The other four stared at Xiao Jiu, speechless. Pang Wenquang broke the silence. "Even the mightiest of beasts have their Achilles heel." Xiao Jiu lay there, fuming. "What are you looking at? No broadcasting allowed today. What are you waiting for? Evacuate the village now." As soon as Xiao Jiu finished speaking, Elder Mo immediately turned to the old master, urgently pleading with Elder Pang. Quickly organized the villagers to seek refuge. It was clear that Elder Mo's plea filled the old master with deep regret and torment. He choked back tears, saying to Yungang, "Lead everyone away. I will stay behind." Tears streamed down Yungang's face. Grief etched upon his features as he sobbed. Is there truly no other way? It was evident that the old master was desperately trying to suppress his anguish. He clenched his fists, but the pain was too overwhelming, too much to bear. He pounded his chest with his fist and cried out in despair, "No! Bang Jiatong is where I first drew breath, the land where I grew up. I can't let it be destroyed like this. Yin Gang's words were filled with anguish, leaving Yi Shun and Elder Mo to hang their heads in silence. Not a word in response, not a single justification. Yin Gang couldn't stand still any longer. He turned and sprinted forward. His sudden action left Yi Shun and Xiao Jiao stunned, rooted to the spot. Yi Shun seemed to completely understand the depth of Yun Gang's love for his homeland. He turned to Xiao Jiao and said, "At this point, only the astral fragment can save Bang Jiatong." Yi Shun immediately took off after Yun Gang, shouting, "Brother Bang, wait for me," running straight back to the village. Bang Yun Gang didn't hesitate to grab a large, sharp blade. Only one thought remained in his mind. It all comes down to brotherhood now. He spread his arms wide, looked to the heavens, and roared. Would this method work this time? The old man's trembling hands slowly reached for the sharp point of the iron rod. His legs erupted in flames as if burning intensely. Steely resolve shone in his eyes. This time he must succeed. A look of frantic determination etched itself onto his face. Pang Yun Gang lunged forward, using all his might to grip the two sharp ends of the enormous iron rod. He gritted his teeth, pouring all his life force into turning the pointed ends. But the iron rod remained motionless, not budging an inch. Despair washed over Pang Yun Gang as he let go, completely drained of strength. He pleaded, "The village is about to be destroyed. What can we do?" His voice was filled with helplessness and anguish. What can we do now? Memories flooded back, taking Yun Gang back 3 years. Back then, Pang Yun Gang was cultivating with the old master. The training scene appeared vividly before his eyes. Yun Gang proudly shared, "Since I was young, I've been a cultivation prodigy. Breaking through realms is as easy as turning my hand." A villager approached Yun Gang with a request. "Although you haven't reached the divine ability realm yet, we all believe you can do it." His spirit crushed. Suddenly a different voice boomed with excitement. "Exactly. Quickly, try again." Yun Gang eagerly clenched his fist. His eyes gleaming with determination, replied, "All right, I'll try again right now." An old man, Yun Gang's confidant, advised him, "Don't be discouraged. One day, you'll be able to lift it." Yun Gang lowered his head, offering a sad smile in response. "It's okay. Next time, I will definitely succeed." But from that day onward, Yun Gang's cultivation seemed to stagnate, showing no progress. Because of this stagnation, Yun Gang slammed his fist against the wall, desperately crying out, Am I really considered the hope of the entire sect?" The scene cuts back to the present. Pang Yun Gang hangs his head low, standing dejectedly before Yi Shun, stammering, "Maybe we should just run." A thought suddenly flashed through Yi Shun's mind. To save Yun Gang, this act was also a challenge, helping him overcome the grief of loss. "Today I must make him stand up," she thought. "Otherwise, he'll live in torment forever." Yun Gang remained silent, sadness etched on his face. He couldn't utter a word. Yi Shun suddenly slapped Yun Gang hard across the face. "You're a useless fool." Yi Shun's words were like a jolt, causing Yun Gang to react fiercely. "Brat, have you lost your mind?" In the eerily silent space of the village gate, 2 villagers hurriedly tried to persuade the old patriarch. "Village chief, come with us. This village is no longer safe." The old patriarch just sighed, saying sadly, "I've made my decision. Everyone go." Faced with the old patriarch's unwavering resolve, Mo Lao also began to ponder. "If I were faced with this catastrophe, I'm afraid I would make the same decision." Meanwhile, 2 villagers trembled, desperately praying for divine protection. The great elder, upon hearing their terrified prayers, felt a surge of anger. He slammed his staff onto the ground, roaring, "Silence! Even if it means death, I will die here." Lao Mo quickly spoke up, encouraging Yun Gang. "Son, you must be strong." The argument between Yun Gang and Yi Shun continued, showing no signs of stopping. Yi Shun said furiously, "Fine, go ahead and run, but don't forget to come back and collect your village chief's body." The old man stood silently, his face etched with sorrow, his gaze fixed on the ground, his hand gripping his staff tightly. Yun Gang looked over in shock, witnessing the old man's pain. He couldn't hold back any longer and cried out, "Old man," though exhausted and depleted. Yun Gang's resolve remained firm and unwavering. Yun Gang strained alone, pushing against the colossal iron hammer, weighing thousands of tons, though the hammer remained immobile, not budging an inch. Yun Gang's unwavering gaze made Yi Shun sigh. He spoke up, If you can't do it, let me help you, you useless fool. Yin Gang didn't flinch, roaring back. Get out of my way. What right do you have to touch my star-crushing hammer? If I can't lift it today, then I'm nothing but a useless waste like you. Lift it. Lift it for me. Yi Shun stood behind, silently cheering Yin Gang on. Come on, friend. Suddenly, the sword in Yi Shun's hand began to tremble slightly. He immediately sensed something was amiss. Could it be? And Mo Lao saw it too and exclaimed, He's done it. Yin Gang was panting heavily, as if lifting the hammer was an immense struggle. But every cloud has a silver lining. Both Yin Gang and Yi Shun seemed to be thinking the same thing. The feeling they had just experienced was so intense it made them forget their physical exhaustion. Yin Gang persisted in his attempts to conquer the iron key. He rolled up his sleeves and declared with certainty, I have a feeling. If we try one more time, we'll definitely succeed. One more time. He mustered all his strength, straining to lift the sharp spike atop the heavy mallet. And just as he had predicted, he lifted the massive mallet with surprising ease. Bursting with pride, Yin Gang plopped down on the ground with a smug grin. From the direction of the volcano, a worried voice called out, Village Chief, you have to get out of here. The village can be rebuilt, but if something happens to you, what will we do? The old man pondered for a moment, then replied in a heavy voice, Choose another village chief. Another voice rang out, filled with hope. Why choose a new chief? The old man has at least 15 more years left in him. They all turned their gaze towards the old man. The clan leader's eyes widened in utter astonishment as he witnessed Yin Gang return, holding the Vajra vessel along with Yi Shun. Yin Gang spoke. Elder, I have retrieved the clan's sacred artifact. Everything I have achieved today, I owe to the guidance and support of everyone since my childhood. Everyone placed their faith in me, saw me as the hope of the entire village, but I never accomplished anything worthwhile. But now, things are different. With me here, no one will have to leave again. Immediately after his bold declaration, Yin Gang charged straight towards the erupting volcano, with the sacred artifact in hand, which he had just retrieved. Elder Yang Yang exclaimed emotionally, Our Yin Gang has finally grown up. Xiao Jiao, standing beside him, turned to Yi Shun and said, You're pretty impressive too. Reaching the surging lava in just a blink of an eye, Yin Gang skillfully manipulated the artifact, charging forward and executing a spectacular throw, sending the Vajra vessel flying straight into the volcano's mouth. He roared, a sound that shook the earth. Immediately after the shout, enlarged, echoed. The iron hammer, initially of normal size, suddenly swelled to an astonishing size. Yin Gang exclaimed in astonishment. Look, the star fragment has become much larger than before. It continued to expand at a dizzying pace. In the blink of an eye, it blocked the surging lava flow. Everyone around was stunned by this extraordinary sight. It had stopped the lava flow. Its power is terrifying. Yi Shun also exclaimed in amazement. It can definitely stop the lava and protect the village. Mo Lao, a master of weaponry, calmly explained, That's obvious. The star fragment is the star fragment. Its power is truly extraordinary. The colossal weapon had completely stopped the surging lava flow, completely diverting the flow of molten lava. Witnessing this miraculous sight, the villagers immediately rushed to inform their respected village elder. The lava flow has changed direction. It's flowing elsewhere. Our village is saved. Yin Gang did it. He succeeded. Joy erupted. Everyone spoke of their savior, but the hero was nowhere to be found. A pressing question arose amidst the confusion. Where's Yin Gang? Why isn't he here? After exhausting all his strength to subdue the raging volcano, Yin Gang collapsed unconscious. The young man's condition caused great concern. Yin Gang is unconscious, someone cried out in fear. Among those present, Yi Shun was the most worried. He shook Yin Gang relentlessly, as if shaking a magic 8-ball, hoping for a lucky break. While shaking him, Yi Shun desperately called out his friend's name hundreds of times. Friend, wake up! Yi Shun wailed. Thanks to the vigorous shaking and the profound inner strength from Yi Shun's hands, Yin Gang slowly opened his eyes, a big question mark forming in his mind. What happened? Feeling as if all the strength in his body had been drained, Yin Gang was utterly exhausted. Yi Shun asked worriedly, Brother Mo, what happened to him? Old Mo replied in a reassuring tone, Don't worry. It's just that the Yuan force in his body is temporarily severely depleted, almost exhausted. He just needs some rest and he'll recover. That evening, in a large square of Pang village, a grand feast was held to celebrate the victory. The village elder solemnly introduced the villagers' savior to everyone. "This is the hero of our village." Yin Gang was praised and lauded so much that his nostrils flared wider than his face, laughing heartily while humbly saying, "It was just what I should have done. I am the hope of our entire village." Yishan asked in confusion, "Hero? What happened?" The two quickly became the center of attention, drawing all eyes from the entire village. Everyone lifted Yun Gang and Yishan high to express their deep gratitude for saving them from the disaster. Yishan was still puzzled by the title of hero that everyone had given him. Yun Gang approached Old Mo, striking up a conversation. "Old Mo, I'm pretty good, aren't I?" He then leaned close to Old Mo's ear and whispered something. "You may not believe this, but I gave it a good scolding, and then it just appeared right before my eyes." The old man replied, "Yin Gang, you're still as naive as ever. Try sensing it again yourself." Looking at his own hands, Yin Gang wondered, could it be, have I broken through? He jumped for joy. I've broken through to the divine ability realm. Suddenly, a thought struck him, and he crouched down to ask Old Mo. "Old Mo, I've broken through to the divine ability realm. So does the marriage agreement between our families still stand?" The old man countered, "Can you defeat her now?" Hearing that question, Yun Gang could only sulk in a corner, drawing circles on the ground, his face dejected, speechless. Seeing this, Yishun asked curiously, "Why is he so down in the dumps?" Old Mo replied, "Yin Yang broke through to the divine ability realm last year. It's her. From childhood to adulthood, I've never been Yin Yang's match." Yichun was shaken, thinking to himself, she truly is extraordinarily formidable. Even Pang, when Gang wouldn't stand a chance against her. Far away, Yin Yang suddenly sneezed. "Who's talking about me?" At the Missouri estate, Yin Yang received a message from her trusted messenger, a black crow. "Yes, my lady." Also at this estate, young Master Mo Yushan, was conversing with his younger sister, holding a gleaming sword. He spoke, "Father has passed down this ancestral sword to me. It seems the ancient prophecy is about to come to pass." His sister curiously asked, "What prophecy, brother?" "Father once told me that during his time, as the master of Purple Sword Manor, he would face an unimaginable catastrophe." Yushan's sister's face suddenly changed upon hearing this. "Master entrusted this ancestral sword to you, so it was for this reason." Yushan continued thoughtfully, "The Jade Mountain Sword Sect, its leader, 4 generations. Only the sect leader is worthy of wielding this sword. Father passed the position of sect leader to me." Yin Yang suddenly appeared before Yushan. The little girl asked, "What are you all worried about? How many people in this world can defeat your father?" Yushan exclaimed in surprise, "How can you appear without a sound? You scare me." Yin Yang asked back triumphantly, "Is this the first time you've realized this about me?" The little sister then asked Yin Yang, "What brings you here today?" The little girl held up a letter and said, "Grandfather sent a letter asking me to find you too. So, I want to ask Brother Yushan to look after me for a bit." He quickly turned away, avoiding her gaze, muttering nonsense under his breath. "Old Mo, she was right to leave. I advised her long ago. The East Village was fine, the West was fine, the South was fine too, but the North was absolutely out of the question. She never understood what I meant." He suddenly changed the subject. "Yin Yang, what do you think of my plan?" "Too bad for you. That little lady has flown the coop, vanished without a trace." They both sighed. "Where did she go?" All right, she's gone. Let it go." A month later, before a dense, primeval forest, Yishun continued his journey with Yun Gang. He asked Yun Gang, "Your fire rat fur cloak, why aren't you wearing it today?" To answer the question, he pulled open his outer robe, proudly showing off the armor underneath, along with his clan weapon. Yin Gang spoke, "Exactly. Let me show you my precious treasure. Behold the fruits of my month-long, arduous training. I won't be easily knocked unconscious anymore." With a mere poof, the gigantic hammer shrunk down to the size of a marble. Yin Gang smiled smugly and asked Yi Chun, "Pretty impressive, huh?" Yi Chun, holding his long sword, said pensively, "I wonder when I will be able to control the great Yu sword on my own, just like you." Mo Lao's voice echoed from up ahead. "Wait until you break through to the divine ability realm and gain the recognition of the great Yu sword. Then you will naturally be able to wield it at will." Xiao Jiu suddenly spoke up. "Breaking through to the divine ability realm is easy, but gaining the recognition of the great Yu sword is the true challenge." Yin Gang chimed in. "Exactly. Yi Chun can already defeat peak spirit condensation realm experts. So why is he still only at the mid-stage of spirit condensation realm? Mo Lao explained. He cultivates the dragon elephant subduing demon art. Requires a massive expenditure of yuan power. So the speed of realm advancement will naturally slow down. Yishin replied, if it requires yuan power, then it's simple. Doesn't the devouring heaven art have the ability to absorb yuan power? He clenched his fist, asserting confidently, I think it won't be long before I can break through to the divine ability realm. Xiao Jiu cautioned, I advise you, it's best to limit the use of the devouring heaven art from now on. Both Mo Lao and Yun Gang immediately perked up at Xiao Jiu's words. Yi Shun retorted, wasn't the devouring heaven art passed down to me by you? Why are you forbidding me from using it now? Back then, you were on the verge of death. So I had no choice but to impart the devouring heaven art to you to save your life. Haven't you realized it yet? The devouring heaven art is a demonic cultivation technique. The other two were utterly astonished. Demonic cultivation technique? Mo Lao asked Xiao Jiu, you're a spirit beast. Why do you know about demonic cultivation? It replied, this thing originally doesn't belong to me. This demonic power naturally comes from a demonic creature. Old Mo gradually realized something. Could it be that thing? Could it be? Within the imperial palace, screams of terror echoed. A ferocious ape king was strangling a man, tossing him aside like a rag doll. Just then, another figure appeared. He exclaimed, the legendary Zhu Yan is just SOSO. It retorted, last time it was just bad luck. I hadn't fully recovered my power before encountering Zhou Wu. Emperor Luo spoke up. I see you've drained the life force of everyone in the palace, yet you still can't defeat that cat. A murderous aura began to emanate from it. The Ape King approached Emperor Luo menacingly, growling. Emperor Luo, you should know, these people were only enough for me to heal my wounds. Once I recover my strength, defeating Zhou Wu will be child's play. Defeating Zhou Wu? Easier said than done. During the recent Northern Rome conquest, that foolish and incompetent King Tian Yi, that blithering idiot, cost our holy court nearly half its military strength. Chu Yim raised his fist and declared loudly, my soul-devouring art can absorb the souls of enemies, allowing your majesty to conquer without sacrificing a single soldier. Very well. Next month, we launch our campaign against the Southern D Kingdom. I want to witness firsthand the abilities of this self-proclaimed god of war. The emperor replied. Meanwhile, at the foot of the majestic Kunlun Mountains, Yi Shun's group was resting at the edge of a forest. They built a small fire for warmth against the cold night air. When Gang spoke up, asking, Xiao Jiu, you said the heaven-devouring art originates from demonic arts. What exactly is that about? Xiao Jiu explained. That Xu Yim cultivates two types of divine abilities, one being the soul-devouring art. The same technique Yi Qing Tian used on the Azure Cloud platform. Yishin recalled the past, a cold sweat breaking out. As expected, the title of God of War was well-deserved. With a single strike, the elite troops and soldiers scattered like leaves in a storm. Xiao Jiu confirmed, that's exactly right. That old scoundrel Zhu Yim's sinister plot is to use the wicked soul-devouring technique to plunge people into an abyss of fear, then unleash the heaven-devouring art to consume their vital essence. Yi Chun gasped. Heaven-devouring art. You're saying the heaven-devouring art? Precisely. The heaven-devouring art you possess is what was seized from that treacherous Zhu Yim. Back then, Xiao Jiu recalled the earth-shattering battle between himself and Zhu Yim years ago. Xiao Jiu had completely dominated Zhu Yim, pinning him to the ground. Right on the legendary primordial battlefield, Xiao Jiu declared coldly, return from whence you came. With that, Xiao Jiu unleashed a fatal blow, completely obliterating Zhu Yim from existence. Zhu Yim's body dissolved into ethereal smoke. As he vanished, a blood-red orb suddenly dropped. Xiao Jiu instantly recognized it as the heaven-devouring art treasure. Back to the present, Xiao Jiu continued the story. Even now, I still can't understand why that demonic energy didn't disappear along with him. Yichen hugged the little cat tightly and asked, why didn't you tell me sooner? I almost succumbed to the demonic influence. Xiao Jiu retorted, isn't it because you're too foolish? Instead of diligently cultivating and raising your realm, you always want to take shortcuts with the devouring heaven technique. Xiao Jiu sighed heavily. This was also my negligence. At that time, seeing you at death's door, your power weakened. That's why. She paused for a moment, then continued. From now on, unless absolutely necessary, never use the devouring heaven technique again. After hearing the whole story, Mo Lao spoke up. Now that the princess is no longer here, if you fall into the demonic path again, we won't be able to control you. Yun Gang, who was beside them, replied. But Mo Lao, isn't there still someone here? What are you waiting for? I'm past my prime, about to become a decrepit old man. Back then, you were the best fighter in the world. What could possibly go wrong? Suddenly, 3 cold, sharp hidden weapons flew towards them, interrupting the conversation. One grazed Yun Gang's cheek, drawing blood. Yishin didn't stop there. He continued to launch more hidden weapons, forcing Yun Gang into an awkward defensive posture. Yun Gang groaned. This always happens. Why me? Yishin immediately went on high alert, summoning his great Yu sword, pointing it in the direction the projectiles came from. Who's there? Show yourself. A masked assassin suddenly spoke. Well, Yun Gang. Suddenly, someone appeared to aid the black-clad assassin. He held countless more sharp hidden weapons and launched them directly at Yichun. Take this, he yelled. With his strength, Yichun could easily neutralize all those attacks. However, the assassin moved with lightning speed, stealthily getting behind him. Another rain of hidden weapons came crashing down. Yichun thought to himself, so fast. A powerful surge of yuan, Li suddenly erupted. He exclaimed, too bad for you. You met me. Dragon Elephant Radiant Light Sword. The giant sword spun rapidly, creating an impenetrable shield, protecting him from all harm. Yichun, with sword in hand, charged towards the assassin. Now it's my turn to attack, he roared. The familiar spirit of the shattered fruit iron pool appeared once more, but this time it was different. It hurtled towards Yichun's sword path. He exclaimed in astonishment, Brother Pang Yun Gang, what in the world are you doing? Across from him, Yun Gang was radiating a murderous aura. He roared furiously, do you have a death wish? How dare you lay a hand on my beloved wife? Yichun froze, dumbfounded. Beloved wife? The assassin quickly shed her disguise, revealing herself to be Yin Yang. With a clearly annoyed expression, she asked, who's your beloved wife? Do you want a beating? Yun Gang hastily made his escape, muttering under his breath, wife, wait. Yin Yang chased after him, yelling, don't you dare call me that again. Witnessing this scene, Mo Lao chided, all right, that's enough. Haven't you two been bickering for years? Aren't you tired of it yet? As Yun Gang's face flushed with embarrassment, Yichun commented, childhood sweethearts. Yin Yang, feigning indifference, retorted, if I hadn't come to find Grandpa Tai, I would have been killed by this pig-headed fool sooner or later. Mo Lao is so powerful. What could possibly happen? Yishun quickly covered Wen Kuang's mouth, whispering, should be quiet. Do you want to get old Master Mo killed? Looking closely at the veiled woman's face, Yishin suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. Strange, I feel like I've met her somewhere before. He thought to himself. The veiled woman chuckled softly, a hint of playful reproach in her voice. It's only been a few months, and you've already forgotten about me? Try to remember, where did you get your divine dragon pill from? Yishin quickly replied. My cultivation level was low back then. I couldn't recognize your noble status. Even if a divine transformation realm expert stood before me, I wouldn't have been able to tell. I kept wondering where she had disappeared to all this time. Old Jack's little ass. Yishin exclaimed. No wonder you're so close to that black crow, she said teasingly. You're a bit slow on the uptake, aren't you? Yishin could only chuckle inwardly. Another divine transformation realm expert. My life is so hard. Old Master Mo spoke up, easing the tension. You two seem to have met before. There's no need for further introductions then. He then turned to the young woman and asked, Xiao Yushan and Lingni, have you arranged everything for them? Hearing his elder sister mention them, Yishan replied, so, elder sister came here because of my little sister? How is she doing now? Hearing this, Yin Yang frowned. What's there to worry about those two? I'm the one who suffers, having to endure their lovey-dovey act every single day. That Xiao Yushan is the most annoying. Then Yin Yang started recounting her days living with the bickering couple. It went like this. One day, the two of them went to work in the fields with the others. Xiao Yushan spoke up. After we finish cultivating this land, we'll fix the irrigation system. Next month, we'll make sure to sow the seeds. This year, we must triple the harvest. We will definitely achieve this goal. Hearing this, Ling Ni playfully knocked Yushan on the head and said, Brother, so capable, why not focus on arranging our marriage instead? Old Mo listened to Yin Yang's story and burst into laughter. Let that brat toil if he likes it. Why worry? The Mahists weren't exactly idle either. The old man burst into a coughing fit from laughing too hard. Yin Nyang quickly rushed to his side to check on him. Grandfather, what's wrong? He replied. Yin Yang, grandfather, is just an old bag of bones about to return to the earth. Yishin asked worriedly. Old Mo, are you alright? Weren't you always healthy before? Yin Gang gestured for silence towards old Mo. Leaning on his cane, his body trembling, he said, lately, using the Zhe Wang staff, I've been feeling rather powerless. Wouldn't you agree? Yin Yang interjected. Who would want such an ugly stick? Anyway, he added. Fortunately, Yin Gang has broken through to the divine ability realm, so from now on, the Mahis treasure will have to be passed down to this grandson-in-law. Oh my, what a steal! Yin Gang nodded repeatedly, replying, Yes, sir, I've longed to be your grandson-in-law for ages. Yin Yang shot him a sideways glance, her hands still tightly gripping her two hidden weapons, and said coldly, Who would want to marry you? It seems I'll have to beat you until all your teeth fall out, so you can't even eat rice. Yin Gang hurriedly hid behind Yishan, trembling. A fairy loses all her beauty when she gets angry. Yishan pulled him forward, encouraging him. Don't be afraid. I've already reached the divine ability realm, and I have a divine weapon in my hand. If I win, I can take her home as my bride. That makes sense. He stuck his chin out. Indeed, it made perfect sense. In front of the flickering flames, he said to Yin Yang, My spirit fragments have no eyes. If I accidentally injure you, I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. The girl wasn't backing down either. You think you're capable of injuring me? The battle officially began. Yin Gang immediately threw a shard of the tin, then Toei. Yin Yang instantly countered with the Sanchi Ling technique. Outside, Yi Shun and Elder Mo were commenting on the match. Unexpectedly, Yin Yang carries a weapon on her neck. Yi Shun remarked, A surprise attack. Who would have guessed? Elder Mo said, My great-granddaughter is truly remarkable, Yishan. Brother, I'm afraid you won't be able to marry her. Of course not, the old man replied. Back then, I had to go through great lengths to steal her. Yishan was startled. A stolen child? Don't misunderstand. She is indeed my blood-related great-granddaughter. Your own granddaughter, but you had to steal her? Yishan wondered. The old man lowered his head and began to tell the story. It happened like this. A long time ago, she was born. It was the moment Yin Yang was born. My grandson, Yin Yang's father. Tears welled up in his eyes. I'm finally a father. At the same time, the Qingzhe royal scepter manifested a strange phenomenon. At that very moment, it dawned on us that this newborn child was the sole inheritor, the true successor of the Zhe Wangzhong. That night, Mo Lao's grandson suddenly exclaimed, Grandpa, I'm over 50 years old and still haven't experienced the joy of fatherhood. Why don't you go find someone and save all beings in my stead? He could only sigh deeply, speechless. The next morning, the baby in the cradle had vanished without a trace. Everyone panicked, shouting and searching for the missing child. Back to the fight between Yin Gang and Yin Yang. It goes without saying who emerged victorious. Yin Yang easily defeated Yin Gang after just a few moves. Yin Gang was tied up on the ground, helplessly pleading, Sister, I surrender. Please have mercy. He couldn't help but wonder in astonishment. Why can't I ever defeat her? I truly regret listening to Yi Shun's instigations. Mo Lao looked at them and let out a sigh. I taught her a body of exquisite martial arts techniques, yet she delights in researching these strange tricks. Yi Shun smiled wryly and said, Aren't her tricks already incredibly powerful? The battle over, Yin Yang stood with her arms crossed, sighing endlessly. Summoning birds, how utterly boring. Your staff is the real joke. Yi Shun, remembering the crow, asked, Are you referring to that giant black crow? Yin Yang, holding the Zhe Wang staff in her hand, said, Of course not. She raised the staff high and shouted out loud. Immediately, flocks of black crows came swarming in. The little girl skipped and jumped joyfully, a flurry of crows swirling and chasing above her head. Yi Shan exclaimed in astonishment, So she really was summoning birds. How was that even possible? Old Mo spoke up in explanation. She created this technique herself. Even I was unaware of it. Xiao Jiu suddenly noticed a strange fragrance wafting in the air. A sweet, alluring aroma spread, catching the attention of everyone in the group one by one. Yin Gang exclaimed, There really is a fragrance. How strange. It's not just floral. There's a hint of mist as well. Yishin replied from afar. But this place is so desolate. Where would a floral scent come from? Moreover, this fragrance. I've never smelled anything like it before. Xiao Jiao turned to Mo Lao and said, I have a bad feeling about this. I'm afraid this isn't a good omen. Yin Yang's side experienced a similar strange phenomenon. The young girl said worriedly, the scent is getting stronger. It's getting hard to breathe, and I think I smell blood too. The Qing Su Wang Zhang in the girl's hand suddenly started vibrating violently and inexplicably. She turned to Tai Jia and asked, Tai Jia, why is the Qing Su Wang Zhang shaking so violently? Xiao Jiao shouted, something's wrong. Something evil, something unclean is escaping from the Hua Yuan Ing Zhao. Mo Lao yelled, everyone be careful. Prepare to fight. Everyone immediately took a stance, ready for battle. The smoke grew thicker and thicker, as dense as night itself. Xiao Jiao, worried, immediately ordered Yishun, quickly disperse this thick fog. Hearing this, Yishun's figure shot up into the air. He executed the dragon elephant fist, utilizing the wind ring, and instantly a powerful gale appeared, roaring fiercely. The whirlwind quickly blew away the dense fog. Seeing this, Yin Gang muttered, even when there's nothing to do, he has to show off a bit. But this formation seems to be getting stronger and stronger, although the fog had gradually dispersed. The Zhe Wang Zhang continued to vibrate without any sign of stopping. Yishin said worriedly, there's no more movement, but the Zhe Wang Zhang is still trembling intensely. Yin Gang turned to ask Yin Yang, what is the Hua Yuan Ing Zhao? She waved her hand and replied, go read a book yourself. There's no time to explain it to you right now. Yishin quickly answered, Ing Zhao is the divine beast that guards the heavenly emperor's Hua Yuan. Bears a slight resemblance to Xiao Jiao. Hearing himself compared to Ing Zhao, he jumped up in a rage, yelling, shut up. How can that brat compare to this lord's dazzling handsomeness? The group retorted in unison, brat? Who are you calling a brat? The cat smirked and said, to be precise, this monster is quite closely related to you all. You're all the same kind. Suddenly, the ground violently shook. Observing the surroundings, Elder Mo's face was filled with worry. Zhe Wang Zhang, vengeful spirit of the previous master, have you returned? An earth-shattering explosion erupted from beneath the ground. A gigantic monster with razor-sharp claws leaped into the air. It roared, a sound that shook the very eardrums. Looking closely, it was a monstrous creature with the head of a goat and the body of a man. Yishin was stunned by its grotesque appearance. Elder Mo, however, wasn't surprised. He calmly said, Tulu, it really is you. Yin Gang leaned close to Yishun's ear and whispered, what the heck is a Tulu? The ferocious beasts of Hua Yuan unleashed a barrage of attacks, bravely absorbing the blows. Yin Gang's face was etched with worry as he pondered in silence for a moment before speaking. This time, our opponent is that 1,000-year-old demon again. Tu Lu exclaimed, speak of the devil. Fancy meeting him here. He glanced at everyone present, his gaze lingering on old Yin Gang. Yishun and Tu Lu softly recited each name. Hoji, Zi Xiediyu. Yishun's eyes widened in realization. He thought, he even knows our backgrounds perfectly well. Mo Lao sighed. After all these years, you're still holding on to that old grudge? He retorted, if it weren't for your ancestor, Hoji, meddling in other people's business, would I have been imprisoned in that damned Hua Yuan? Yin Gang turned to comfort Yin Yang. My dear wife, don't worry. Your family's feud is my family's feud. Yin Yang immediately raised her fist and snarled, get lost. Call me dear wife again, and I'll smash your mouth. She turned to Mo Lao and said coldly, you hold the Azure ruler staff. If you must blame someone, blame yourself for defying the natural order, escaping from Hua Yuan, roaming freely, and slaughtering innocent beings. Hearing these stern words, Yin Gang's face turned pale, and he fell silent, not daring to utter a word. The old man continued, Hoji was merely acting on behalf of your master, your savior, to teach you a lesson. You should be grateful that he spared your life. Tu Lu roared furiously, charging straight at the old man. Suddenly, the little cat, Xiao Jiao, spoke, addressing Tu Lu. Hold on, do you recognize me? Tu Lu paused for a moment, sizing up Xiao Jiao, then stammered incoherently. Yishun's group exclaimed in unison, an old acquaintance. Xiao Jiao mocked Tu Lu, you ran away from Hua Yuan. Did you even bother informing your master? Tu Lu flew into a rage and threw a powerful punch at Xiao Jiao. What's it to you? The blow was so powerful that it shook the surroundings. Tu Lu roared, on what grounds? Why imprison me in this tiny garden? and entrust the entire world to weak and insignificant mortals, even though their lifespans are but a fleeting few decades? Xiao Jiu calmly replied, you really haven't changed a bit. A waste of 1,000 years of confinement. I find it quite strange as well. A powerful Zhu Wu mythical beast like you. Just how strong are you really? Yet you betrayed your own kind and colluded with humans. Back then, you helped the Yu slaughter countless members of your own race. You wouldn't understand even if I told you. You simply cannot comprehend the true power of humanity. Powerful? Tulu burst into laughter upon hearing those words. He turned his gaze towards Yun Gang and his group and asked, are you referring to these 3 divine transformation realm cultivators? He then shifted his attention to Yishan, or this useless and incompetent spirit condensation realm brat. Yishan frowned. How could he be so arrogant? Xiao Jiu asked him, do you believe they'll send you packing again? Yishan looked at the cat's smug face in astonishment. This lazy cat is only good at bossing others around. The cat growled. Do I need to lift a paw for such a trivial situation? Hurry up. Go deal with that goat-headed monster, Tulu. Yishan hesitated. He thought, this guy doesn't even respect Mo Lao, yet he's calling on me? Does Tulu look down on me that much, sending the weakest one here? Zhu Wu, you're truly senile. Xiao Jiu retorted, whether I'm weak or not, you'll find out soon enough. Yishan was sweating bullets. This damn cat is all talk. Finally, Tulu decided to make his move. He charged forward like a whirlwind and declared, so eager to seek death? I shall grant your wish. Fortunately, Yishan managed to jump aside just in time to dodge the attack. He pointed his sword directly at him and said coldly, mediocre martial arts, no matter how hard you train, you'll never be stronger than Li Li. Finishing his words, a brilliant golden aura suddenly enveloped the entire sword. Both the old man and the young boy were astonished by the powerful sword chi that Yishan had just unleashed. Tulu scoffed, his face full of contempt. You dare compare me to a lowly being like Li Li? Yun Gang, standing beside him, interjected, I'd say you're not even a fraction of Li Li. Yishan urged them on. Hurry up, we still have a whole roasted goat to eat tonight. Yishan spun around. The great sword in his hand flashed a cold, sharp light. He said in a deep voice, my spirit condensation realm isn't just for show. Dragon Elephant Fist, Wind Seal. A decisive, powerful blow pierced straight into Tulu's stomach. Tulu was stunned. Strange, as light as a gentle breeze, like I wasn't even hit. But as soon as he landed, Yishan carefully observed and exclaimed, is this monster really dead? Thinking that everything was over, Yun Gang triumphantly declared, I thought you were a formidable opponent, reduced to dust with just one move. Old man Mo suddenly recalled the incident years ago, where it took a divine artifact to subdue this demon. Why was it defeated so easily this time? Suddenly, Tulu's corpse twitched. He let out a savage, chilling laugh. His body disintegrated into countless horrifying bugs. They quickly burrowed into the ground. His voice echoed everywhere. Did you think it was over? The swarming bugs crawling on the ground horrified Yun Gang. Oh my god, so many insects. And Yang just sighed in exasperation, sarcastically saying, what kind of man is afraid of insects? Meanwhile, he suddenly appeared not far away, right before Yishan's eyes. He stood tall like a statue, his voice cold. Don't get cocky, don't think that. Just wielding the Emperor's weapon means you can defeat me. Everyone around looked puzzled. Why, after this monster fused his body back together, did he not only have no injuries, but was even larger than before? Xiao Jiu hurriedly explained. This monster is a worm from the flower garden, cultivating and absorbing spiritual energy until it gains sentience. Not only can it split its body, but it can also burrow underground. Everyone be careful. Yishan angrily shouted at Xiao Jiu, you stupid cat. Why didn't you say so sooner? If you had, wouldn't we have found a way to deal with it? Xiao Jiu's words left Yishan speechless. Old Mo looked towards the Earth Tower and said in a deep voice, throughout centuries of history, the ancient texts only hold a few brief lines about it. He scoffed and asked, now that you know the truth, what can you possibly do to me? Yin Yang furrowed her brow and said, it's just a meager skill for escaping. Do you really think you're invincible? Capturing a dozen of you is as easy as catching rabbits, he retorted, remembering the primal energy enveloping the great sword. Yishan thought to himself, aren't they just a bunch of insects? If only I had learned that secret technique from senior brother. How great that would be. In a land of Mo Yao, Xiao Yushan, and Yi Linger were engrossed in their training. The young man flicked his wrist, and the sword on his back instantly left its scabbard with a clang. Faint shadows of the blade appeared on either side of the sword, sheathing the sword in a flash. Lin Yi lovingly held Xiao by, saying softly, "Your Zhao Yi flying sword dance was truly extraordinary." He smiled in response to the praise. At first glance, it seems like more than 10 flying swords appear at once. But in reality, it only requires one main sword. The remaining swords are all formed from mystical sword qi. Xiao Yushan said thoughtfully, "I previously taught this technique to Yishan." Hearing this, Lin Yi asked curiously, "Did he manage to master it?" Xiao Yushan shook his head, a weary expression on his face. At that time, he was in a hurry to go to Qing Yin Tai, solely focused on cultivating the dragon elephant, subduing demon skill, and completely neglected his sword training. Worried for Yishan, Lin Yi clutched Yushan's robe and pleaded, "Could you teach me instead? I've just broken through to the early stage of spirit condensation realm." Yushan hesitated, reluctant to teach Lin Yi too soon. "If I continue to teach you, I fear I won't be able to bear parting with you." Lin Yi blushed shyly and scolded softly, "How dare you?" But Xiao Bai's presence made it difficult for them to continue their playful banter. The joyous mood suddenly dissipated. We're dishing out a daily dose of sickeningly sweet PDA. Back on the fierce battlefield, Yi Chen was locked in a heated battle with Tu Lu. Tu Lu exclaimed in astonishment, "Unbelievable! Someone with a mere spirit condensation cultivation like you can actually condense sword qi." Yi Chen gazed at the energy flowing on his sword, thinking to himself, could this be sword qi? So this is the sword qi that senior brother talked about. Tu Lu sneered at Yi Chen's bewildered expression. "It seems you haven't quite grasped how to utilize sword qi yet." Yi Chen retorted with a curled lip, "I've successfully cultivated sword qi, but I can't seem to recall the technique that senior brother taught me." He added in frustration. Tu Lu continued to provoke him. "Come on, attack me. Let me witness the might of your great universe, sword qi." A terrifying surge of power slammed into Yi Chen, forcing him to retreat. He was pushed onto the defensive, inwardly panicking. "I'm dead. What in the world is this technique?" Seeing the perilous situation, old Mo immediately commanded, "Yin Yang, Yin Gang, go on up there quickly. Let Yi Shun come back down." Yin Yang immediately met his attack. She launched the Shili wand towards her opponent. Tu Lu saw the tiny, sand-like Shili wand and allowed a mocking laugh. "I thought it would be some impressive move. Are you trying to tickle me with these things, girl?" The girl retorted, "Tickling won't kill you, but it's enough to send you to the underworld." She then focused her energy, preparing to activate something. A deafening explosion erupted. The Shili wand simultaneously detonated with ferocious power, blowing his body into smithereens. Yin Gang exclaimed in terror, "Oh my god, if I marry her, how will I survive?" Yin Yang roared furiously, black flames erupting from her mouth. "You're right. What are you standing around for? Attack!" Obeying his future wife, Yin Gang charged forward with his iron staff. Spirit shatter. The energy sphere flew straight into his face, causing him to cry out in agony. Once again, Tu Lu dispersed into countless insects, burrowing deep into the earth. He decided to retreat. After realizing the true strength of Yi Chen's group, he exclaimed, "I underestimated you all, but I will return." Yin Gang was still in shock. Pointing shakily at the bugs that had been hiding behind Yin Yang, he stammered, "Those disgusting insects, they're starting to gather again. What do we do now? What are we going to do?" Suddenly, Yi Chen's voice rang out, filled with confidence. "It's done." Yin Yang quickly turned around. Before her stood Yi Chen, flawlessly executing a masterful technique. It was the flying leaf sword dance, the legendary skill Yushan had mentioned. Moreover, the number of sword images had increased dramatically. Amidst the fierce battle, witnessing Yi Chen's extraordinary power, Yin Gang couldn't help but admire. "This kid, he's truly amazing." Young master's flying leaf sword dance truly lives up to its reputation, has been tempered by you into. Seeing him refine demonic qi to such a terrifying degree, Tu Lu felt a sense of foreboding wash over him. Great use sword qi. Instinct screamed danger. It immediately turned and fled. At the same time, Yi Shun had finished his preparations, swiftly executing the flying leaf sword dance technique. In an instant, thousands of sharp sword blades materialized from thin air, hurtling towards the fleeing monster. The power of the attack was truly earth-shattering, violently shaking the surrounding space. This destructive force dealt it a crushing defeat. Great Yu sword, so hateful. Witnessing this terrifying scene, Yun Gang was utterly astonished. As expected of the Great Yu sword, swords transforming into rain. A furious storm of sword chi. Suddenly, one sword veered off course, lodging itself squarely in Yun Gang's backside. The unexpected pain made him cry out in agony. Yin Yang, standing nearby, burst into laughter at the comical sight. Serve you right. How dare you trifle with a divine weapon like the Great Yu sword? After that terrifying rain of swords, the ground was littered with bloodstains, the remnants of a fierce battle. Having exhausted too much Yuan Qi, Yi Chun collapsed from exhaustion. Indeed, executing that sword technique consumed a tremendous amount of internal energy. Mo Lao was smug, believing that Yi Chun was ultimately still a step below him. Xiao Jiu thought to himself, if Yi Chun were at the divine ability realm, able to continuously control the sword for attacks, he might have been able to destroy it before the demonic beast's main body could burrow underground. What a pity. Just as he suspected, a deep voice resonated from beneath the earth. That must be the earth, Laos. I almost died by your hand. But unfortunately, your realm is too low. This time, Yin Gang was utterly terrified. It's not dead yet? Xiao Jiu wondered silently. Right now, it must be temporarily restoring its body. It will reappear soon. Gathering the remaining 10 will be twice as difficult, I fear. Faced with this perilous situation, Elder Mo proposed a plan. Let this old man charge into the fray. Time passed, and night finally fell. They built a small fire, the flickering flames illuminating their faces. Yin Gang turned to Elder Mo and asked, Elder Mo, after all this time, that demon goat, could it have been slain by Yi Shun, never to appear again? However, Elder Mo disagreed. As long as its essence remains intact, it can return by simply restoring its physical form. It will definitely return. Yin Gang stubbornly refused to believe Elder Mo's words. In this pitch-black night, who knows from which dark corner that monster will crawl out? Seeing Yin Gang's anxious muttering, Yin Yang scolded him. You blockhead, will you stop being so jumpy? You've been a scaredy cat your entire life. Yin Yang's words were abruptly cut short as Elder Mo's expression turned grave. Looking at Yi Chun, the old man softly said, From now on, Yin Gang and Yin Yang will be in your care. Suddenly, disaster struck. The ground began to shake violently. The old man instantly recognized the cause. He urgently shouted, It's here! Scatter! Finally, the monstrous creature revealed itself. It roared furiously. You insignificant insects, prepare to die. Facing the colossal beast, everyone watched in terror as it grew larger and larger. The monster hurled massive boulders at them. Yi Chun quickly erected a sturdy barrier to block the attack. Such power from a single casual blow. Xiao Jiu said to Mo Lao in a panicked voice. Right now, Tu Lu is beyond our capabilities. Mo Lao sighed and replied, Our cultivation is still insufficient. But as if sensing something amiss, Yi Chun gestured. Perhaps I should subdue it. He hadn't expected that their combined strength. They were utterly powerless against its terrifying might. Yin Gang, worried, called out to Mo Lao for help. Xiao Jiu, quickly lend a hand, he pleaded. Mo Lao pondered, slowly shaking his head. If I were to interfere in this matter, he said slowly, I fear the world would quickly fall into ruin. Facing the ferocious beast, Yi Shun and Yin Yang struggled to hold their ground, nearing exhaustion. Mo Lao's expression turned grave, his brows furrowed in thought. They can't even subdue a low-level earth mound, he muttered. They are not worthy of the titled children of destiny. Yin Yang exclaimed in frustration. These disgusting insects just won't let go. My time reversal pill is almost depleted. As for the beast, it continued to laugh mockingly, its expression filled with contempt. I want to see how much longer you can resist, it taunted, infuriated by the beast's arrogance. Yi Shun roared, Don't be so arrogant. Suddenly, Mo Lao stepped forward, signaling them to retreat. Before the battle, Xiao Jiu warned him, Be careful. After all these years, it has become much more powerful than before. Watching him enter the battle, it remained arrogant, provoking Ho Tuo's descendant. So the turtle finally poked its head out? He sternly replied, The Tuo Wang Zhang is in my hands. Dealing with you naturally falls to me. Even with his life hanging by a thread, he let out a wild, arrogant laugh. uttering threats without knowing his place. If Ho Tuo himself wielded the Tuo Wangzhong, perhaps I would flee immediately. Ho Tuo's descendants are truly useless. The Tuo Wangzhong, such a divine artifact, has fallen into the hands of a mere Shun Tong realm pawn. Hearing this, a terrifying demonic aura began to emanate from him. A sense of foreboding suddenly arose. The young lady quickly intervened. "Grandpa, please stop. His power is growing increasingly terrifying. Even the true divine ability realm is nothing to him." Witnessing his overwhelming might, the arrogance